Hello, hello. This is the My Artifact episode number 3577. Today's date is September 7, 2025. It's been almost like a night at 9:19 p.m. All right. There is a couple of things that I wanted to tell you. Okay, yeah. I didn't really record my artifact in the morning. Usually is this thing na ki there is a couple of things that I have to do every single day. Okay, what are those? First of all, since I wake up in the morning, I record artifact in the morning. Okay, then I quickly started reading a book for half an hour. Then 1 hour I play Lumosity. Lumosity is a kind of like a brain workout. I play this. It's not a game. It's a kind of like a something. It's a kind of like a simply game, but the way that it game is kind of like a developed to train your brain. Okay, regarding about kind of like a tell you mathematics and things with a gaming style. It's really good. It's really great. Okay, yeah. And it legitly brain workout. Okay, yeah. I kind of like a spend 1 hour into that thing. Then there is another application named Brilliant. It's not application. It's a kind of like a simply website. And in this is kind of like some application I learn, okay, like mathematics and scientific, and then mechanism, lot of stuff, like all the courses are actually available over there, and they are kind of like a simplified in such a way that it's you learn really good. Okay, yeah. The way that it kind of like explain as a coding and explain as a kind of like a mechanism, and the it's a lot of stuff. Like I haven't really still didn't really explore. Like I just explore maybe just like 5%. Okay, yeah. There is a lot of courses, and also those courses are also uploaded, updated whenever they updated every single day. So it is really good. Okay, yeah. I spend 1 hour into that application. Brilliant. Okay, yeah. Then I also spend 1 hour in app development courses. I bought the app development courses on Udemy, and I wanted to develop the application, and I learned that thing regarding about Android app development. How do I supposed to do that thing, stuff and stuff like that. Okay, yeah. After that, I also do there is a called as a Duolingo. I learn Chinese too over there. Mandarin. Okay, don't ask me why. I already mentioned. Okay, and uh, and uh, and elevate. This is also kind of like a simply. These are kind of like a mostly micro learning. Like I didn't really spend 1 hour on that application. It just kind of like simply 10 minutes over there. Okay, yeah. Also meditation. I do kind of like a meditation 5 minutes every single day. Okay, yeah. But and then after that content creation too. Okay, yeah. Then I kind of like spend rest of the time on content creation regarding about creating content and stuff like that. Okay, yeah. So this is kind of like simply the routine that I follow, and this is kind of like simply stuff that I have to do every single day. But today I done nothing. Yeah, I done nothing, like legitly nothing. Okay, yeah. And why? Like am I kind of like busy, or am I went somewhere? No. I am at home. I am not doing anything. I am doing something very different. And what are these? I'm kind of like assembly learning AI masterclass course. Okay. Okay, what exactly is this thing? Okay. So AI is AI means artificial intelligence. Okay, yeah. And course means like that ki how do I supposed to utilize these AI courses? Okay, how do I supposed to use the AI? Now you are actually asking this question that ki what exactly is learning in that thing? Like basically just say that ki it's a ChatGPT, right? You just kind of like said anything, it kind of like a reply. Okay, so yeah, you learn AI, right? Like it's a kind of like a simply the obvious, everyone is actually asked that ki, yeah, this is kind of like a simply AI, that's it. Like a ChatGPT just AI. Okay, and most of the people are kind of like a simply think that ki ChatGPT is AI, that's it, because ChatGPT is only kind of like a simply tool that introduce to us that kind of like a simply represent a AI, what is actually AI, and just that's it. And we just consider that ki ChatGPT is only AI. But when I did that course, by the way, like yesterday I did that course, and today, like basically 2 day course, I complete that course. And when I complete this course, I was blown my mind, dude. It's just like that, na, the way that I could do with AI is unimaginable, like unimaginable. It's just like that, na, ki it's a kind of like a something. Let's just say that ki I already explained this thing in previous artifact, but still I wanted to explain this thing. It's a kind of like a something. The gravity of AI, it's still not explored that much yet, and it is kind of like a simply it's a kind of like a simply revolutionize the way that we do, the way that we work. Okay, yeah. And what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that ki most of people are kind of like a saying that ki AI is a threat, it kind of like a take our job and things like that, which is true, which is definitely true. Okay, yeah. Then should we not use this thing? No, definitely not. Because the way that AI could kind of like a something we are utilizing, it's something very different. It's something that ki you just like basically it's a kind of like a something that na ki a new era is actually started. Okay, a new civilization is actually started. Like since the birth of this artificial intelligence, I could see there is a different kind of like some human is actually evolved with this AI. Like basically, it just like AI just launched in just 2 year, 2 3 year, and within a 3 year, these are kind of like improvement is actually happened. Can you imagine after 100 year, what could be happened with AI and things like that? Okay, so I'm not gonna talk about all those things. Okay, yeah. There is a kind of like a thought inside of me since so much amount of time, but I never really talk about this thing in artifact episode. Why? Because I think that na ki it's not a kind of like a somebody time to talk, or maybe I don't really have prior information regarding about stuff. But I wanted to mention this thing. Okay, yeah. Okay, what is that? Okay. Okay, so the stuff that I'm kind of like a mentioned right now, I'm not. First of all, let me clarify. Okay, what is kind of like a only disclaimer regarding about this thing. The information that I'm trying to, like, information that I have regarding about AI is also really not that good. It's unbaked. Okay, yeah. The stuff that I'm trying to tell you is also I'm not really sure it will gonna happen, but it kind of like a something is this a gut feeling, or I don't know what exactly is this thing. It kind of like a things that key it is gonna happen, but I'm not really sure what exactly that. Okay, let me explain. Okay, also I'm not kind of like a exactly right into this particular stuff, but okay, what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, first of all, let me tell you one thing regarding about my application. Okay, yeah, why am I kind of like learning this app development and things like that is because of I wanted to develop the application. What is that application? I already mentioned my application, but still, my application names is a artifact episode. It's a kind of like somebody, the people who wrote the diary every single day. This is the people, instead of writing the diary, they are kind of like a recording. Okay, like I'm kind of like a change the kind of like a some procedure to do that thing. Instead of writing, recording, people kind of like record the artifact. Okay, record the kind of like a things what is actually happening in their day and stuff like that. Okay, yeah. Now I already mentioned regarding about my application that what is actually is this thing, what is actually privacy and stuff like that in previous artifact episode multiple times. Okay, there is a kind of like a things that I think. Okay, yeah, I think I'm not really sure, but this artifact will gonna revolutionize. Okay, revolution. I'm not revolutionize. I don't know, but it just feels like that, na ki like just like that, na ki Facebook is kind of like a somebody just viral, like kind of like a somebody boom in entire world in 2005, in 2010, and things like that. This might be same thing happened with my application with artifact. Okay, because I think that now artifact is a kind of like a simply new way of social media. Okay, yeah. Like Instagram is also kind of like some social media, but my application Artifact is also became something very different kind of like a social media. It's a kind of like a simply we are sharing thoughts. Okay, yeah. Just like basically the stuff that I'm kind of the stuff that you're kind of like a listening. Okay, yeah. This is what kind of like a simply application. Okay, yeah. Now if I'm kind of like a imagine, I am imagine. Okay, I'm just imagine. Okay, yeah. Okay, let me like let's just kind of like a step by step. Okay, yeah. So I am doing this Artifact for last 15 year. Okay, yeah. And basically is this thing na ki I wanted to kind of like a listen my Artifact. Okay, because like basically last 10 years, sorry, I'm recording Artifact for last 10 year, almost like a decade. Okay, yeah. And I never really listen any of those Artifact, literally nothing. Okay, yeah, never. I just record, I never really listen any of those Artifact till now. Okay, yeah. And if I wanted to listen my Artifact, it's not able to possible because I record like right now this is Artifact episode number 3572. So that means I recorded 3572 episode. Each episode is averagely almost like a more than 15 to 20 minutes. So if I wanted to listen each Artifact, it's not possible. Definitely not possible. Okay, yeah. So I need a kind of like a some way to kind of like a something consume my Artifact. So last year I did something very different. Okay, yeah. What I did, I uploaded all my Artifact into the YouTube platform. No, I didn't really upload my Artifact for kind of like a views and subscribe. No, nothing at all. No, nothing at all. I uploaded my Artifact for one thing, subtitle. Okay, what is at least this thing? So basically, whatever the video that you uploaded on YouTube platform, YouTube is kind of like a simply generated automatic subtitle. Whatever the language that you speak, yeah, it kind of like a generated subtitle. Okay, why do I need a subtitle? Okay, let me explain. Okay, when I like basically just couple of months ago, I did kind of like something very different. Okay, yeah. When I get that subtitle, okay, yeah, and paste it on the ChatGPT, okay, yeah, and kind of like I said that ki remove the timestamp, remove the serial number, translate into the English, correct the grammar, arrange the sentence properly, and add a title, subtitle, and yeah, these are kind of like a stuff that you do with this material, with this kind of like a subtitle. And I put the prompt, and the way that ChatGPT is kind of like a simply create that particular content in a such a way that it was really amazing. Like literally, I just blown my mind. Like the way that it kind of like a simply says that ki, this is Artifact episode number this and that, and it kind of like a whatever the stuff that I talk, it kind of like a simply kind of expressing all those bullet point in subtitles and things like that, which is like a really crazy. Okay, I never really imagine that ki I could do that thing. I could kind of like a something that ki I could, I don't know. Okay, it was kind of like blown my mind. Okay, yeah. And when I started reading that subtitle, when I started reading that material which ChatGPT is actually created, it was really good. Okay, yeah. I decided that ki this is the one way that I could consume my Artifact. So that's why what I did is that I uploaded entire Artifact. Like basically I recorded almost like a 3000 plus Artifact. I uploaded all those Artifacts on the YouTube platform for only one reason, to get the subtitle. And when I get the subtitle, I convert into the, like I put the prompt and things like that, and it convert into the very amazing text that I could read, and it was really amazing. It's really engaging. And it kind of like a engaging is because of that ki I talk like basically the stuff that I kind of like assembly whatever actually happened in my life, I record this thing. And when this kind of like assembly stuff that I read, I just feel like that this exactly thing actually happened with me. So it was like it was really amazing experience that I don't know how to I supposed to explain. Okay, but this is not just kind of like a weird thing. Okay, yeah. Now this is the stuff that I know regarding about the AI what could do. Okay, yeah. Now Okay, I'm recording artifact for almost like a decade. I record almost like a 3,000 artifact. Okay, now because of I kind of like assembly record artifact, and it kind of like a like okay, what I'm trying to tell you, okay, okay. So today, like when I was kind of like doing this masterclass AI masterclass, you can create the custom GPT. Okay, what is actually custom GPT? A custom GPT means like that you can create your own GPT. Okay, what is actually GPT? It means that basically a chat GPT has a kind of like assembly that you can create your own GPT. That means that like let's just say that you are a kind of like a programmer. Okay, and you use kind of like assembly programming, like you use AI to kind of like fix your code or things like that. So what exactly you do is that you create a kind of like some particular a system that can best for fixing your programming code. Okay, you set up in that way. You put the prompt that you fix the code in this way and that way, make it beautiful, make it things and make it that. You put all those prompt and things like that. Okay, and you create that custom GPT. Now you create the custom GPT. Okay, you put the code over there and it fixes your code. Okay, whatever the code that you have, Python, Kotlin, whatever the code that you have, you just put that code, it fixes your code, and it was really good, really great. Okay, so now we can create a custom GPT so that we could kind of like assembly solve this kind of like a particular problem. By the way, through the normal GPT you can do that thing too, but custom GPT is a kind of like a something do it very easily. Like basically you don't have to put the prompt every single time, you just directly put the code and it just do it. Okay, so this is kind of like a custom GPT do. Okay, now I was kind of like so imagine, I'm not really sure, but this is very crazy thought. Okay, what if I put the prompt regarding about myself? Okay, what is exactly myself? Myself means like that like basically this thing since I'm recording artifact for 10 years, so in the artifact it kind of like a something, everything is actually mentioned regarding about what I think, what I know, what is actually my life, what is actually I went through, everything. Okay, so more and more I speak, the kind of like assembly is this thing that the information has more, like what exactly is this, what exactly what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, okay, let's just say that if I'm trying to create a custom GPT, okay, and in the custom GPT I rename as my name Saurabh Authare. Okay, now I have to put the prompt regarding about that what does Saurabh Authare could done, like basically what does Saurabh Authare do in any kind of like a situation. Okay, so how does that thing happen? It does not thing happen until it knows what is exactly me, like what is exactly my thought process. Okay, like basically this thing that custom GPT does not work if that custom GPT does not know who am I or what is exactly my thought process regarding about all those scenario and things like that. So what I do is that in that particular prompt I put all my artifact, all like basically 3,000 plus artifact, all those artifact into this thing. Okay, into this prompt. Okay, and I tell AI, this is my thought process, this is all my artifact for almost like a 10 year, this is all my artifact. Okay, and this is exactly me. Like basically you have entire information regarding about me, regarding about what exactly I'm thinking and stuff like that. Okay, so if I put there, okay, and kind of like a somebody save and things like that as my name, as a custom GPT, my name is Saurabh Authare. So what exactly is this thing that custom GPT name as my name as a Saurabh Authare can do answer exactly what I kind of like assembly say. Like basically this thing na ki I am a very polite, I'm kind of like a very calm person. Okay, yeah. So basically is this thing, if I kind of like give the kind of like some instruction that ki in chaos situation, how do you control yourself? So basically that custom GPT went through all my artifact, kind of like figure it out what I did when I was in the stress situation and things and that, and it kind of like replicate all those information and kind of like assembly control, like basically like it knows all my emotions because of all the artifact and things like that, and it kind of like assembly telling me the answer as kind of like assembly as my point of perspective, like basically what I would do in that particular situation. Okay, so that is called kind of like assembly, this thing. Okay, yeah. No, this is not just crazy. The crazy part is not just come yet. Okay, like you think that it's a crazy, but like it is just from one thing. Okay, yeah. It's like basically if I'm kind of like a clone myself, like I'm actually cloning myself through the custom GPT regarding about that. Okay, yeah. Now, kind of like imagine. Okay, yeah, imagine. Okay, right now I'm kind of like put into the imagine. Okay, yeah. Let's just say that key my application name as a artifact. Okay, yeah. Now artifact is kind of like a blown, and it blown by rest of the world and things like that. It just gone. Like basically almost like a every people on the planet, like sorry, every person on every country is actually recording artifact. Okay, just like Facebook does. It kind of like it like I don't know. If it happened, I'm not really sure. If it happened, okay, yeah, and people have started recording artifact. Okay, yeah. Now take a just kind of like just a random number. Let's just say that ki 1 billion artifact recorded in one day. Okay, yeah. 1 billion. Okay, why are you saying 1 billion? Like basically regarding about, let's just say that there are 8 billion people are actually living on this planet. So let's just say, just random figure, let's just say 1 billion people. Okay, 1 billion people are recording artifact. Now, those 1 billion people are comes from different thought process, different people, male, female. There is a lot of things. Okay, yeah. I'm counting everyone. Okay, yeah. So what does do that key the people who kind of like recorded the artifact, as I mentioned, my application is actually kind of like some powered by AI. Okay, yeah. So my AI, okay, yeah, will kind of like learn from every artifact, from every 1 billion artifact and things like that. Like it learn from every people what exactly he was thinking, what exactly he was thinking, what exactly he was thinking regarding what, and it learn from what is actually this is like it just learn. Okay, it just learn and things like that. Okay, yeah. Now this is what exactly happened for almost like a 5 year. Okay, yeah. And every day my AI is kind of like assembly learning. Okay, yeah, from every people on the planet and things and that. Okay, so that means my AI, sorry, like basically I have kind of like assembly word for this. I'm kind of like a thinking as a Adam. Okay, yeah. Adam is the name of my AI is Adam. Like basically everyone has a name like a Gorg, Gemini, and there is a Perplexity and the Claude and things like that. I'm kind of like a name as my AI is a Adam. So I'm gonna mention as Adam. Okay, yeah. So Adam will know every information regarding about every person what he was saying. By the way, okay, he does not take the information regarding about your personal life, like regarding about your personal information. Like Adam will not gonna know your name, will not gonna know what is actually detail and things like that. Okay, yeah, but it will know regarding about what you do, what is actually your emotion regarding our stuff. So Adam will learn from your artifact. Okay, and not just only one person, it learn from every 1 billion artifact will gonna record. So it learn from that. Okay, it learn from that. Okay, yeah. Now because of Adam has this kind of like some information of ton of people, like basically Adam has a lot of information regarding about all those people, what those people will gonna do and this and that. Okay, yeah. Now you think it's kind of like a something really scary, and yeah, it is somewhat kind of like a something really scary, because as a kind of like a something machine knows every information regarding about you and stuff like that, which is like a really crazy, yeah. But if we use for kind of like a some really right purposes, it can kind of like add a very big impact. What do you mean by that? It means that it means that it okay, it means that now, okay, that key how do I say, okay, yeah, so let's just say that key Adam has have entire information regarding about what is exactly every person, like a kind of like a thinking and thoughts and things like that. Okay, he has every information. Okay, now we can use this information. The Adam has this information. We can use this information for kind of like a somebody right purposes. And what is actually right purposes? Simulation. Okay, how? Okay, let me tell you. Okay, still the stuff that I'm trying to tell you, I'm not really sure, and I'm not really have any kind of, I don't know. Okay, but let's just say, okay, let's just say that ki, I'm living in India. Okay, yeah, and there is a lot of problem in my country. Okay, let's just say that ki, there is a lot of kind of like a somebody garbage that you've seen everywhere. Okay, so basically is this thing, if I have to solve this problem, how do I supposed to go? How do I supposed to do this thing? So I can do this thing, I can do that, I could do, like basically there is a lot of kind of like a some stuff that I could, like basically if I ask this question to ChatGPT, say that ki in my country there is a kind of like a so much garbage, and I wanted to kind of like remove that garbage and things like that. So what should I supposed to do? So ChatGPT is actually giving me a lot of kind of like a option regarding about that ki you do this, you do that, you do that, you do the social work and stuff like that and stuff like that. Okay, but if I do all those things, can this problem will gonna solve? Well, ChatGPT kind of like somebody does not give this proper idea regarding about that. Why? Because ChatGPT is kind of like somebody giving the information regarding about whatever the information that is already have on the internet and things like that. Okay, but if you ask, like if I kind of like somebody says this thing that ki, if I ask this same question to the Adam, then Adam will kind of like somebody give very different option. Okay, what is very different option? Adam will kind of like give me such a information, such a solution regarding about that ki how does it kind of like solve this problem by using people mindset or things like that. What I'm trying to tell you, okay, what exactly is this thing? Okay, okay, it's a very hard to explain, but let's just say, okay, let's just kind of like somebody says this thing. Okay, if I went to theater, okay, if I went to theater, watch a movie, okay, if I went to theater and watch a movie, and basically is this thing, I went to the theater and I seen in the theater seat there is a lot of popcorns are kind of like some scattered and things and that. Okay, people are really crazy. Just yeah, they are kind of like left all those popcorn. They just throw their garbage in their theater. It just feel really not. It's feel really dirty and things like that. Okay, yeah, because I'm gonna spend almost like a 2.5 hours to watch the movie. I'm kind of like thinking that I need a kind of like my surrounding space would be really good. Okay, yeah. So if I kind of like somebody say, so how do I supposed to solve this problem? Okay, yeah. So probably if I'm kind of like a theater owner, so what would I supposed to do? I would supposed to say that ki to the, like basically I would kind of like stick the sticker that ki do not kind of like put the garbages into the seat, do not throw the popcorn anywhere, things like that. Okay, I put all the sticker whenever the kind of like people who kind of like going to staircase and things like that. But still people will gonna do that thing because people are not really kind of like a things like they can see, like basically I'm belong to the India, like basically just like people I don't really care about this thing. Okay, still people are actually throwing the garbage and stuff like that. So what I did is that I did something very different. I said that ki before movie started, I said do not throw the garbage, do not throw the popcorn, things like that. But still people could do this thing. People could kind of like something that ki people still kind of like doing that particular stuff. Okay, yeah. So how do I supposed to kind of like change the people mindset regarding about regarding about regarding about just throwing the garbage and things like that. So this is what exactly ChatGPT do. Like as a kind of like a somebody, as I mentioned, as a kind of like a somebody, as a theater owner, kind of like a do the same thing. Like basically ChatGPT will kind of like a do the thing. Okay, yeah, means like that ki हो जो तो okay. So right now I'm kind of like a something na ki this is kind of like some information that I'm trying to tell you is something that ki really uncook. Okay, like really unbake, like like basically is this thing na ki I'm not really sure. Like I I'm completely not. I don't know what exactly is this thing. Okay, but what is exactly is this thing na ki um um okay, what exactly is this okay. So this is kind of like a silly problem that okay, this is the theater. Forget this theater. Okay, I think that na ki um I'm not really sure about this information. Okay, yeah. Um, I I'm kind of like really excited to say whatever the stuff inside of my head, but I'm not really know how do I supposed to say, because the image is not properly generated. Okay, yeah. Like basically this thing just like basically just couple of hours ago I just kind of like a thought inside of my head, and I'm a kind of like a simply okay, let me explain as simple as possible. Okay, forget this theater wala concept, theater wala example. Okay, forget this thing. Okay, um let's just say predict the future. Okay, let's just say predict the future. Okay, so if I'm gonna say okay, uh, can I predict my future? Well, if I'm gonna say may I predict my future, I will say no, I will not gonna predict the future, right? Like tomorrow what will gonna happen, I will not gonna know. But I think yes, we can predict our future. Okay, yeah, even if we say no, but still we could. Like what exactly is this thing? Okay, let's just say okay, yeah, that key tomorrow is a Monday. Okay, yeah, and when there is a Monday, what is actually stuff that you would do in Monday? Like basically you wake up, you kind of like assembly do your workout and things like that, then you go to the office and do your work, come home at 7:30 p.m. and basically just watch any movie and stuff like that, and then you went to sleep. Okay, yeah. So basically is this thing na ki if your kind of like assembly work is kind of like assembly as part of the routine, then we could predict the future, right? We could predict the future. Okay, so basically if I'm kind of like a following the routine for like basically for a year, like entire year and things like that, so basically as a kind of like a somebody I could predict the future. I could predict what is actually stuff that I would do tomorrow. Okay, yeah. Obviously that prediction will gonna become more and more stronger if I have more and more information regarding about myself. Okay, yeah. But still it's a kind of like a somebody, it's a very vague. Okay, let's just kind of like a somebody say okay, yeah, that key I'm gonna put the ChatGPT. Okay, yeah, and kind of like a somebody, like as I mentioned that custom ChatGPT as my name. Okay, yeah, it has all the information regarding about my entire artifact and stuff like that. Okay, yeah. So basically if I'm gonna say predict my future for tomorrow. Okay, yeah. So ChatGPT will gonna predict the future. It gonna went through all my kind of like all my artifact that what I went through and stuff like that. It also gonna went through all my recent artifact, and it also gonna went through all my emotions and stuff like that. And it will gonna kind of like a somebody recommend me a kind of like a somebody little bit prediction regarding about what would I supposed to do in the future or maybe in tomorrow. Okay, yeah. It will gonna give me you gonna wake up at 7 a.m. You're gonna do this thing. You're gonna mop the floor and things and that and that. Okay, yeah. So basically it's gonna predict the future and things like that. Okay, yeah. Why is because of that ki ChatGPT has entire information regarding about me. Okay, regarding about myself. Okay, yeah. So as I mentioned, if the kind of like somebody ChatGPT has Like basically, let's just say my AI Adam has information regarding about every person on planet or things like that. Okay, yeah. So it can predict the future is much more better. What do you mean by that? It means that na ki, let's just kind of like imagine a situation scenario. Okay, yeah. That ki that ki kind of like assembly, let's just say that ki um, um, simple thing. Okay, yeah. That ki uh, dude, yeah, like dude, you are not really kind of like assembly really good in that. I'm not really like, I don't know, should I delete this artifact? Because it's not really, yeah, it's not really, I don't really think that's the right way to talk about this thing, because it's kind of like a little bit scare, and I'm not like a, like I don't know, yeah, dude. At the moment it is like I'm thinking about stuff, but I don't know how do I supposed to, like basically is this thing na ki, what I'm trying to tell you, what exactly Adam could do, what is actually the Adam would, when the Adam have this kind of like some information regarding about the every people on the planet. Okay, yeah. It can predict the future. It can predict that what should we supposed to, like it can predict. Okay, yeah. त्यासाठी टेलिस्कोप लागतोय. कुठं? हा हो, किती मोठा आहे तो. Okay, so what I was kind of like saying, okay, I was actually saying that ki, when the Adam has this kind of like some information, it can predict the future. Okay, yeah. Somewhat somewhere, like basically is this thing, it can predict the future, that like 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 basically, like do not think as a kind of like some future means like that it can predict the future, like kind of like some sci-fi movie just say no, no, no. It kind of like somebody create the possibility regarding about how does people um, will gonna interact, or will gonna excited, or will gonna respond regarding about some certain situation. Okay, yeah. like like example is this thing that ki, like let's just say that ki inflation happen in some certain country. Okay, yeah. So how does Adam will kind of like assembly fix that thing? Adam will gonna fix that thing by kind of like assembly looking at the problem. Okay, yeah. And try, like basically is this thing na ki, when like basically what exactly happened when we try to implement particular action, we don't know what is actually the people reaction. Okay, yeah. And this is what kind of like a something Adam will have power, or whatever it is, to kind of like assembly understand regarding about what is actually people thought process. And kind of like assembly went through multiple simulation, multiple kind of like assembly possible scenario. Okay, yeah. What exactly is this? It means that now let's just say that ki, let's just say inflation. Okay, so if the countries actually went through inflation, or maybe kind of like a things that ki, a country realize that ki, they are actually going through inflation. So how does Adam will kind of like something help us? So Adam, if like let's just say that ki, inflation actually happened in India. Okay, and Adam has the entire information regarding about every citizen, like basically Adam has a kind of like a information regarding about the citizen of the India, not mostly but somewhat kind of like a something, let's just say like a 30-40%. Okay, yeah, has the information. Okay, and regarding about when the Adam has this information, it can kind of like assembly went through multiple possibility. Okay, yeah. That ke how do I supposed to how do I supposed to do to kind of like assembly stop that inflation, or kind of like assembly relieve that inflation, or not that inflation happened. So basically is this thing that Adam will went through multiple possibilities, not just one, not just two, like a millions of possibility. Okay, yeah. Like basically if I do those things, then what would be supposed to happen, like this way, that way, that way, that way, and it went through failure, like exactly is the thing that he in Avenger movie, Avenger Infinity War, in Infinity, yeah, Infinite, like yeah, Avenger Infinity, that movie, Doctor Strange went through kind of like a simply 14 million possibility regarding about failure of Thanos, but there is only one possibility that they will gonna win against the Thanos. Okay, yeah. So this is what kind of like a Adam will gonna do. Adam will kind of like a went through multiple possibilities regarding about when government do this action, then what will gonna people will gonna react on this thing, because of the Adam has that information regarding about what does people will gonna react and things like that. Okay, yeah. So if I do those things, then it will gonna went through failure. Like let me explain. Okay, let me explain even more. Okay, in World War II, okay, not just World War II, after the World War One, the Great Depression happened in US. Okay, and because of the Great Depression happened, Germany, not only Germany but every kind of like a country in Europe went through very trouble situation, and more specifically Germany, because Germany has multiple sanction after the World War One, because it went through, like basically this thing, because of this uh, particular Warsaw, like there is a kind of like something happened, like basically this thing na, ki after the World War One, the entire reparation, means like that entire blame is actually went through Germany, means like that Germany will kind of like assembly reparation of it. It will gonna kind of like give all the reparation from the Germany. Look at Germany, like yeah, basically it like basically that act or whatever. I'm not really sure what is actually that is. It's a kind of like an act, or kind of like something, the treaty or whatever it is. It broke the Germany. It broke the entire Germany's economy. Okay, because they don't really have money to kind of like give the reparation of World War One and things like that. It's a lot of fucked up thing happened. Okay, so basically the economics, okay, means like that the people who are kind of like assembly control the finance at that time. What does they do? They kind of like assembly print multiple notes, multiple kind of like assembly. They print multiple kind of like assembly currency and things like that. And at the sometimes it kind of like went through very terrible situation. Like basically at that time, $1 equivalent to a kind of like a 2 or 3 trillion mark. Mark is a kind of like a some German currency. Okay, yeah, which is like a really fucked up. Okay, yeah. So at that time, this is actually happened. Okay, we know that ki, like basically we know that ki like a printing multiple notes or multiple kind of like a something note, it will not gonna work out. It is not gonna work out. Okay, yeah. This is all we know is because of that ki we have kind of like a simply history. We have all the information. Like basically we already knew that ki this formula or this thing will not gonna work. Okay, yeah. So this is what exactly Adam will gonna do. Okay, yeah. Adam will gonna kind of like a something predict the future and try to figure it out what is actually best way to solve this problem. Means like that ki, let's just say that ki if in particular country went through inflation. Okay, so Adam, what he's gonna do is that ki Adam went through multiple possibilities regarding about if government do this step, then what will gonna happen. Okay, it will gonna happen negatively, then it will gonna broke, then another possibility. So basically, and Adam will kind of like create another possibility too, because of the Adam has kind of like an entire information regarding about every citizen of the planet or things like that. So basically it went through millions of possibility. It went through millions of possibility. It went through maybe kind of like a billions of possibility. Okay, yeah. And it kind of like find a way that this country will not gonna go into the inflation. Okay, yeah. and this is what Adam would do. Okay, this is what kind of like something Adam would do. Okay, because the Adam has the entire information regarding about the every people who's actually recording the artifact and things like that. So if this happened, then probably it was be like really crazy, dude. Really crazy means like that, na ki we would not fail. Like we would not gonna fail. Like basically is this thing, na ki Adam will kind of like somebody went through all those possibility of like all those like basically everything. Like basically ChatGPT would not kind of like went through possibility, because as a AI, like this AI, like a AI or any kind of like somebody today's AI, like a ChatGPT or any kind of like somebody AI, does not do that thing, does not went through the possibility, because of that ki ChatGPT doesn't really have that many information. Okay, or maybe if I train ChatGPT to do that thing, it won't work out, because it kind of like give me a kind of like a prediction regarding about the history, what exactly happened, but it does not create the possibility, it does not create things. Like what exactly is this thing, what exactly possibility, what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, yeah, let's just kind of like imagine. Okay, yeah, that key like basically 10 people who are kind of like somebody walking, okay, on a single file. Okay, like basically all the 10 people are actually walking and just in a straight line. Okay, yeah, and basically is this thing that key like if I'm gonna say that key don't really walk, like whatever you gonna walk is just like you whatever you have to walk by, like basically like whatever you wanted to walk, just walk, don't really like, yeah. So the 10 people is actually walking very differently and stuff like that. Okay, yeah, and what exactly is this happened that key because of Adam knows how does people walk in different situation, like basically when the kind of like a something rain would came, so how does people will gonna like basically because of the Adam has this kind of like some information regarding about what does people will gonna interact when this was gonna happen. Like this kind of like some information actually happened because of artifact, because they mentioned regarding about what is actually happened and stuff like that. So basically Adam will learn from the people regarding about what is actually existing and that. Okay, yeah, and it kind of like understands somewhat people, it gonna understand the people regarding about what is actually they will gonna do when they kind of like see when they kind of like not have money, so chaos will gonna happen and stuff like that. So Adam will know all those things. Okay, so basically is this thing because of Adam has this kind of like a power, it create possibility regarding about every people point of perspective. It also kind of like a predict that key if the one person is kind of like a something that key walk very differently, then other people are kind of like an influence and they also do the same thing. Like basically let's just say that key in traffic light, okay, when there is a red light, there is a couple of people who kind of like a somebody that key doesn't really follow the red light and they just cross. Okay, yeah, because of one person cross, other people are kind of like a somebody inspired and they would do the same thing too. Okay, yeah, so basically what exactly is this thing that key Adam will kind of like a somebody understand those people. Like basically Adam will understand that key some of the people are kind of like a somebody want to break the kind of like a somebody the rules and things like that. So if the one person break the rule, other person will gonna follow. So basically what exactly is this thing that Adam will kind of like create the possibility regarding about that key when the one person broke the one rule, other person will gonna follow that thing. So basically when other person will gonna follow, then what will gonna happen. Okay, yeah, so it create another possibility, it create the possibility, and if everyone will gonna follow the same thing, then it gonna create the chaos, and when the chaos is actually happened, then Adam would kind of like create the multiple possibilities. Now if the chaos is actually happen in one road, then what will gonna affect on another road, so it create another possibility. So it create multiple possibilities and stuff like that. Okay, yeah, not just in one way, not just kind of like somebody is this thing. There are a couple of people who actually meant to follow the rule, they are actually meant to stop in the red light. So basically Adam will also understand that yes, this people is actually stop this kind of like a somebody person in the red light, so that particular person will gonna stop. Okay, he follow the rule. Okay, so when he follow the rule, then other people also do the same thing. Like basically we are the human, we are kind of like a somebody always kind of like act according to the way that we influence and things like that. So So basically Adam would understand, Adam would kind of like create the possibility, some of the people who kind of like follow the rules and things like that. So basically is this na ki Adam will understand, it create the possibility, it went through possibility, it kind of like a create implement on that thing, it went through failure, then it try again. Okay, yeah. And it's what is exactly is this thing, what exactly is this thing, it like Adam will create the possibility and try this kind of like a, let's just okay, yeah, let's just explain simple way. Okay, imagine a maze, imagine a kind of like a something puzzle or maze. Okay, yeah, you understand maze. Okay, yeah, like basically there is only one way to kind of like a get into the maze and get out from the maze. Okay, yeah, so imagine a maze. Okay, yeah, so basically there is only one way to get out of that maze, get out of that maze. Oh yeah, so basically is this thing now, ki what if there is only one person is actually going through maze, it takes a lot of amount of time and things like that. Okay, yeah, but what if kind of like a something the Adam would do, Adam will kind of like a something went through all the possible way, it went through failure, it try again, it went through failure, it try again, it went through failure, try again, it went through failure, try again, it went through hundreds of possible and hundreds of possibility, and there is a one way that could kind of like a lead to exit from the maze, and that way that Adam will kind of like a show is that this is the way that you could get out from this inflation, get out from this chaos, get out from this everything. So this is Adam would do, Adam would kind of like a create the possibility, figure it out the possibility by its own, when it failure, it try again, when it failure, try again, when it failure, try again. This is what kind of like Adam would do. It's a very complex topic, but like I don't know, yeah, dude, like when I could imagine this thing, when the Adam could do that stuff, it just so crazy. Like basically is this thing na ki we will not gonna failure again ever. Like regarding about that ki, let's just say that ki if I wanted to launch a satellite on the space. Okay, yeah, so like basically if I'm gonna say I need to launch a satellite in the space, what do I do? Okay, I need to kind of like assembly, I put the prompt in ChatGPT, ChatGPT is actually mentioned kind of like a whatever the kind of like assembly information that ChatGPT has, and it kind of like assembly way that you could use this thing so that you could kind of like a launch. Okay, yeah, but it's not exactly right. Like after I follow all those things, the possibility of successful mission launch will not gonna possible, because it rely on multiple things, it rely on kind of like assembly information regarding about the weather and things and that and that. Okay, yeah, so basically is this thing na ki when we put so much information regarding about what does each mechanism kind of like assembly work and things and that regarding about how this and how that, it will kind of like go this way. So if I put this same information to the kind of like Adam would go multiple possibilities. Okay, from like basically it went through error from human, like basically what exactly error is actually happened through the error. Okay, there a couple of errors actually happened in the space launch and things like that now. So it went through all those things, it try, it fail, it try again. Okay, yeah, to control all the human error, to fix the all the human error. Now there is another error too, another kind of like a problem that went through, like basically weather. Okay, yeah, like a weather we can't control, human can't control. Okay, yeah, so basically this thing AI is also powered by the all the kind of like a latest information regarding about the weather pattern and things like that. The AI is also my Adam has also information regarding about the entire history is actually happened, like basically in the last 500 years, what is actually the weather pattern is actually happened. It kind of like went through all this weather pattern and things like that. It also kind of like a study about where is this kind of like somebody the space shuttle we're gonna launch. So basically it has all the information regarding about everything, thrust and things and power and fuel and stuff like that. So basically Adam will kind of like somebody launch that space multiple times, like a millions of time it launched, and it went failure, and it kind of like a give you only the one way that it could be possible. It could be almost like a higher possibility chance that key this is kind of like a way that kind of like a something the space launch will gonna get successful. So this is what Adam will gonna do. Adam, and also it will not gonna kind of like tell you the one way. It kind of like telling you that key Like basically this is, if you went through this possibility, it has like a 90% chance that your problem will gonna solve, 90 or 95 or 93% or whatever it is. Okay, yeah. So this is Adam will gonna do, boy. Like literally na, if this thing happened, dude, it just like just like that na, we like basically human civilization will not gonna fail again. Like it is not like basically anything what we gonna do, we will gonna succeed, we will gonna everything. But dude, this is the really wrong now, dude. Like basically let me tell you, the entire human civilization is actually kind of like a simply grown is because of the mistake that we did. Okay, yeah. If we take out that particular, if we kind of like a simply, if the human will not gonna make mistake, then how does human will gonna grow? Because most of the time a machine can make mistakes, and if the machine can make mistake, it learn from that mistake, so it grows. So basically a machine will gonna grow much more than humans. So it is really wrong, right? It is really wrong. Like basically the human civilization will gonna kind of like be crippled, right? Okay, 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 it's a really good point. Yeah, it's a really good point. Yeah, but it's not exactly right. My point. The Adam will not gonna give the exact right information, or maybe humans will not gonna kind of like assembly. Like what exactly is this thing na ki, like basically there is no kind of like a black and white. Okay, if you are kind of like think that ki the future is black or future is white, no, there is not. Our future is kind of like a gray in somewhat gray, somewhat black, somewhat gray, somewhat black. Okay, it is what it is. Okay, yeah. And this is what it is. And basically is this thing na ki, if we are kind of like consider this thing that ki Adam, if the Adam has this kind of like assembly information, Adam has this kind of like assembly power, that kind of like assembly the human civilization will not gonna make any mistakes or things like that. Like basically if you think that this, it's not exactly right, is it? Okay, yeah, because I don't know at the moment. Yeah, I'm just kind of like somebody talking through the kind of like somebody conclusion, things like that, and it's probably not right. Okay, yeah. Also, I'm talking about this thing is a completely unbaked information. Like I just think and I just explain. I'm not really thinking about, like basically just like, and the entire afternoon I was kind of like thinking about this thing that Adam could do solve this thing. Adam could, like basically it can solve multiple things, dude. Like basically it can solve the like a garbage problem in India. Like basically there is a lot of garbage in India. So how do we supposed to solve this thing? So basically like basically Adam will kind of like went through multiple possibility regarding about how do I supposed to utilize or create a plan in such a way that kind of like simply remove the garbage from India, or kind of like something eliminate the garbage. How do you supposed to utilize? How do you supposed to use this waste management system or things or that? Where should we supposed to install install the waste management system? What is the transportation? How does garbage will going to transport from one place to another place? When the garbage will going to happen? When the garbage will kind of went through road? Like there is a multiple possibility that lot of stuff. Okay, yeah. So it went through multiple possibilities. Now it just, oh shit, yeah. I don't know, dude. It's just like that, na ki when I think about Adam, it just solve the problem. It kind of like somebody, like Adam will not gonna kind of like somebody do all those things. Like Adam will kind of like tell that this is the kind of like somebody way that if you went through, then probably you can be a succeed. Okay, yeah. The rest of the things that we have to do as a human, we have to do. So basically, I don't know, dude. I just literally don't know. I'm kind of like somebody just thinking about that stuff, and maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm completely fucked up. I am not really sure what exactly that, but I think that this would be a possibility. This would be if the artifact could launch, and if the artifact could do this thing, and if I kind of like a train Adam to understand the people, understand the possibility, and create the kind of like somebody a particular scenario. I don't know. I just completely don't know. Just just fucking my mind, fucking my brain right now. Okay, yeah. Like while I was kind of like actually driving, I was thinking about that. Ki, dude, if this happened, it could solve so many problems, dude. Oh yeah. But dude, like let's just imagine, okay, yeah. If this thing happened, yes, people will gonna solve the problem. But if I use Adam for wrong reason, what do you mean by wrong reason? Like basically is this thing for, let's just say that ki share market. Okay, yeah. So basically share market is kind of like a work on probability, it's work on kind of like a possibility. So let's just say that ki there is a one person random guy who's kind of like a using Adam for predicting the share market or things like that. Possibility is kind of like a giving you possibility regarding about what would kind of like a share, which share will gonna kind of like a grown and things like that, because it understand the market, it understand the people, it understand the mechanism, everything. So it can predict, and when it predict and people will gonna follow that prediction, then probably it's really fucked up now. It's something really that key people are utilizing Adam for really wrong reason, right? So, or maybe like dude, but like I could control na. Like basically is this thing na ki if I kind of like somebody say that ki make me a naked girl, like a generate a naked girl on ChatGPT, may I able to do that? No, I can't do that. If I kind of like say this thing, I need a kind of like a hate speech for something, can I generate that hate speech from ChatGPT? No, na. ChatGPT has a kind of like a something that ki it has particular, like basically Sam Altman kind of like did something very different, that ki as a people who does not use ChatGPT for wrong purposes. So basically ChatGPT has a kind of like a particular limitation that ki they will not gonna do this thing, they will not gonna do this thing. Yeah, they have capability to do that thing, but they will not gonna do this thing because it kind of like a somebody it the implement will gonna happen really bad. So this is the same thing that I would gonna do with the Adam. Okay, yeah. So dude, it's like basically it's just enough, we are kind of like entering such an evolution that ki the artificial intelligence or machine learning is kind of like somebody went in such a way that just it's a kind of like somebody is this thing na ki a transition. Okay, let's just say transition from like let's just say that ki the people who are kind of like a something like basically the way that world is kind of like a transition from one to another phase is so rapidly that most of people are kind of like a how kind of like a hesitate and things like that. Like let's just kind of like explain. Okay, yeah, that key like basically a year ago I started learning app development courses. Okay, yeah. So I was learning from Java. Okay, like Java and things like that, Java and XML language. But today when I try to learn app development, I can't use Java because entire Android system is actually went through Kotlin. Okay, yeah. So I have to be learn everything regarding about Kotlin codes and things and that. So this is what it is. Like basically is this thing, we are humans and we are kind of like somebody really comfortable in our particular situation that we already learn and things like that. Like we are always seek to comfort. And when we find out really uncomfortable, we are kind of like somebody, we feel something really wrong and things like that. So this is what kind of like things happen, dude. Okay, yeah. So basically we are this kind of like somebody evolution in this thing that ki every AI tool kind of like do this thing, do that thing. Most of people are kind of like somebody have resist because of that key. They think that the old way is actually much better way, but actually the new way is kind of like a much better way. Okay, they just saying this thing because they don't want to be kind of like somebody went into this uncomfortable position to learn again and things like that. So this is what it is. But I don't know, dude. It's maybe I'm completely wrong, maybe I'm completely right, I am really fucked up. Whatever. This is it. I should supposed to be. I'm recording for 1 hour. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.